Welcome back to another episode of Fallen Forward, F-O''D. Riding in the shotgun seat is Mr. Abe Partridge. It's an honor to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, buddy.
Man, I was trying to think back of when we first met, and I think it was the Kicking It on the Creek that you played.
Yeah, that was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
I'd gone to the previous year too, but the 2019, it stood out as a special year, man. And so you kind of blew everybody away.
That was the last one. That was the last one they had.
That was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a festival of legends now, man. Like, you look back at the people that played and the times that were had, and the people that, you know, the Roberts family had right in their yard.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Byron Roberts. Yep. He's awesome, man.
And you had your you had art booth set up. Some of your works for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we start there, because the correlation of the music and the art. How did that come to be?
Well, I started doing both at about the same time. I was in my mid-20s. I was about 25 or 26 years old, living in Bell County, Kentucky, in Middlesboro, and trying to pastor an independent fundamental Baptist church, and was in the process of kind of losing my ability to do that anymore, and then all the stress and the just everything the turmoil that created led. I turned to art and to songwriting as kind of like as a solace from that, and like a way to figure myself out, figure out what it is that I wanted to do, and figure out who the hell I was, honestly. And so I started writing songs and painting, and right about the same time.
And your artwork and your music had a similar theme, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the early days. I mean, I didn't start sharing my songs publicly until 2015, and then my first art show of my visual art was 2018. So there was about an 7 or 8 year period between the time I started writing and the time that I played anything publicly, and about a 10-year period from the time that I started painting till the time that I had my first art show. But when I first started writing and painting back in my mid-20s, before I was doing any of it publicly, all my stuff was really, it was just me trying to figure out who I was, really, and I mean, independent fundamental Baptists don't really have they don't have like help for people for preachers that are struggling. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, you're struggling, well, then you need to step out of the pastorate.
Did they kind of frame it up as like it's a faith thing? Like, you need to pray more, you need to...
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's always your fault if you're in a position that, if you find yourself in a position where you're struggling and you're doubting your ability to continue in that faith, well, that's just akin to what they call it is apostasy, is what they call it. And so that means you turn away from the faith.
Yeah.
And so, by that time in my life, I had already spent 9 years in that church. I had pursued an education in that church that is irrelevant outside of that church. I don't have an accredited college education. I went to independent fundamental Baptist Bible institutes. Like, they were basically just the ministries of churches. So outside of of the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church, my education was rendered completely useless. And so I was in my mid-20s, like facing down the idea that I had basically given 9 years of my life to a church that was no longer going to have me, and my education, and all those 9 years were just basically thrown away. And so that's when I turned to songs and art and everything. When I was in Middlesboro, that's where I found it all. And I just was doing it to survive. I was making art to survive. So it wasn't, I was not writing the kind of songs that I would never now perform publicly, because they were just so intensely personal. Most of them were prayers and things. And my paintings from that day have all been sold. From those days have all been sold, except for a handful that my wife's kept. Most of all those paintings have already been sold, but they were very much like the same kind of thing.
And when you look back at those early paintings, do they tell the story? Or they, from what I've seen, it's a lot of religious based content. And so, like, can you remember the first handful of paintings that you did, and like how you were feeling during that time?
Yeah, I still got the first three.
Okay.
Yeah. I painted Son House. You know, the bluesman Son House. He started out as a Baptist preacher, and then went on to become a bluesman in his later days. And there were other bluesmen who started bluesmen in their youth and then became preachers when they was old. But Son House started a preacher when he was young and became a bluesman when he was old. And so Son House was kind of like a patron saint or something.
The show, he kind of blazed that trail to show that it can be done.
Yeah.
Instead of being, when you're rejected out of your something that you put so much of your own life in the prime years, and all of a sudden you're rejected out of that place that consoled you before, and now like you're an apostate. It's like,
yeah,
I can relate to that, man. I was raised in a very high control religion myself, and I dedicated my life to it. I ended up spending 2 years in New York at the world headquarters volunteering my labor, like so, painting. And
what is a world headquarters? What is that?
It was Jehovah's Witnesses. They have like a world headquarters.
Okay, yeah.
It was based in Brooklyn, New York at the time.
Okay.
Now they've moved upstate after 9/11. They're like, this place is crazy.
Okay.
So yeah, but what you're saying, it resonates with me, because that is a deeply challenging thing to have happen. But art was one of those things that kind of soothed me too, and that's when I started writing.
Yeah. It's a great. It's a great. I mean, I think it's one of the essential features of art, or maybe not the central feature, but the central benefit to me of art has always been that. It was never to me about making something to sell, which stands in 180 degrees away from what a lot of people in our industry create. It's like you're trying to make something that people will buy,
right?
But yeah, I think art at its purest is just made because it feels good to make it, and there's some like intense personal reason why it's being created. Yeah,
that's the best art. And I think when it becomes a factory floor of production just to try to make money, it's like, it loses the heart and soul of why it started in the beginning.
Yep, that is true. I have to walk a weird line now, and that line is, I started making all this art just because I was trying to turn my agony into something that was pretty. And then, a decade later, that art became the way that I support my family. And so now, as I create art, I have to be mindful, you know, not to maintain the it's like you know, if you got a pure stream, like if you got a pure well, like a natural well on your property, you can bottle and sell that water, but you better keep that stream pure.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's something powerful to think about.
Yeah.
And you know, as soon as it gets tainted by something, it can, you know, reputations get damaged, and it's almost irreparable at some point. But I think too with art, it's always questioning. You know, there can be multiple wells in somebody's life they tap out of and give to people. You know, music. You know, then you have the, you know, paintings, and a lot of people become authors later on, where they write their story and kind of learn things along the way. That's one reason I started the show, was to kind of show people, like, and if you turn the radio on, or you listen to a podcast or whatnot, and you hear the songs, and you hear the artist, or you see the work, you still don't know, unless you peer into those stories. You still don't know the origin of that. And once you know that, it can help to open up the very reason why you're creating it in the first place. And you know, there's a point where it becomes a salve, a personal, you know, where you kind of lock yourself in, and you're like, I need to heal myself. Art's the way to do it. Music's the way to do it. And then you move forward, and you figure something out in your life, and like, now I'm in a different place, so my art's going to change. You know, it's not that the source is changing.
Yeah, you're just in a different place. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, that's, every good artist, right? I mean, if they're making the exact same art from when they started till you know, years later, yeah, you'd have to wonder how come they haven't progressed, right? Yeah.
So what's next for Abe Partridge? Like, what are some things you've been burning the road up lately, traveling all over the country? You're constantly writing new material.
Yeah, I'm always making new stuff.
And what I love about your stuff, man, is it's so visual. Like the chickens on Thanksgiving, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I can picture the whole story happening. It's almost like a movie, and you know, it's I just love that, man. And not everybody can do that, but it's very much like the illustrations that you paint. There's so much within a small frame. There's so much to be said.
Yeah, that's what I try to paint. I try to paint stories, just like I try to write stories and songs.
When you sit down with a new idea, do you kind of have the whole picture in mind of what you want to say already, or do you kind of like let it evolve as you write?
Well, I guess it really just depends on what day you catch me on. Yeah. Sometimes I just have a line that is powerful, you know, a collection of words that's powerful, and then I'll try to write around it. And then other times, like that chicken thing, I wrote that in like just a few hours, you know, and with very little editing, you know, just kind of wrote it. As a matter of fact, it was just the last stanza was the only thing I really had to concentrate on. But I was in a certain presence of mind to where I was right for that. Sometimes my brain is cloudy and cluttered, and I'm not very good writing when I'm like that. But then other times my brain is really settled, and when I'm at home. When I'm on the road, it's really hard to write.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to write. I mean, it's easy to catch bits, you know, that I'll store for later, but it's really hard for me to sit down and write. But when I'm at home, if I can separate myself from everything, then it becomes a lot easier. And then I'll just write something. Sometimes I can write things really quick. But then other times, you know, I'll slave away for months at the same old words, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got one song I've been working on now for about a year. And I love about 85% of it. And then there's 15% of it that, you know, it just don't fit right, don't feel right to me. So I'm sitting here trying to you know, carve it out.
Yeah.
But we'll see, you know, and maybe it never carves out. But yeah, I guess, you know, I guess to say the answer to your question is, man, I write them however I can get them. You know, I paint them however I can get them. I just feel fortunate when they come into my brain, because a lot of times I don't even feel so much responsible for everything. I just more kind of like, you know, it's kind of like an antenna. Your brain's like an antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you catch the transmissions, and sometimes you don't. And so I'm just happy when I get one.
It's like those radios that people used to, I guess they still have them, that kind of transmit all over the world. You can pick up things, you know, they're constantly scanning those waves, and all of a sudden they'll pick one up, and then you fine tune it, and you can pick something up. And it's I think songwriting's like that. It's like,
I do too.
A lot of people that I've interviewed have said something similar, where, and I've experienced it myself, where I don't, you know, like there are days where I'm like, I haven't written anything in a long time. I need to sit down and write something. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And then other days I'll be sitting on my front porch with a cup of coffee and think, man, this is like golden hour in the morning. It's like golden hour. It's like, okay, I'm gonna write. I feel like writing now. And then all of a sudden, boom, 15 minutes later, I got a song I'm getting ready to release.
Yeah.
And so it's just but there's no way to force that to happen. It's like forcing a baby to be born.
I haven't found one yet. If I find one out, I'll let you know.
And I think too, you know, as an artist, even if we did figure out a way to speed the process up, it's like it turns into factory work again. It's like, nah, this is not what artists do.
Yeah.
We feel, we experience, we question, and we write. And I'm like, you know, I definitely have been intrigued by your path too, like with your artwork, your story of being a pastor and how that's transformed your life. You also served in the military, and that affected your art. How does when you see world events happen and military gets involved and things like that, with the connection also with your pastorage and your religious background, and as an artist, do you feel like in times of turmoil that's when you feel more creative, or like, I need to say something? Or how do the world events affect your art?
I don't know. I guess I mean, I'm still a reservist in the Air Force, so whenever I see world events happening like the current stuff, I get really I get nervous about, you know, my unit being deployed, because I ain't trying to go over there no more. But yeah, I mean, whenever I feel led to speak, you know, I mean, obviously you don't have to dig too deep into the stuff I create to see what I believe about things. But also, I don't want to force want to force something, you know. Like, I don't feel called, or I don't feel led to be a soapbox kind of artist. And I have friends that are, and who I love and will support. But I try. To me, I feel like I'm led to create art that says that I want to say things, but I want to say them in a beautiful way. And because I feel like I think if you just are reactionary in your art and you just create to quickly counter whatever thing is happening in the world that you want to counter. I mean, if you're led to do that, go for it. And I'm with you. But me personally, I feel that if you can say, for instance, you know, I'm anti-war. Now I can stand up on a soapbox and say I'm anti-war, or I can write from my personal experience of being in a war, and try to write it in a poetic and a beautiful way, and then perform it with a melody. And then whenever I sing that, and that message goes out in the form of a song, poetry put to melody, the likelihood that it could, like a seed, go into the brain of someone who needed that kind of a message, or was who needed that type of perspective, and then that seed may germinate into something. I think it's more effective than just saying, you know, I'm anti-war and you should be too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure that whatever I say and however I say it, it's done in a beautiful way, because that's what I think in the end, that's the most effective way.
It really is, man. It really is, and I think that there's a lot of art that doesn't get heard because it's not written in a beautiful way. It's written in a demanding way, and on its own too, like that, maybe for that crowd, whatever that artist felt like impelled to create is for that one particular crowd. But I think you appeal to more people when you know, what do they say? You attract more bees with honey, or I forget what the expression is. But it's that way. There's a song that you wrote that it always stood out to me, and I think you recorded it live at Laurel Cove one year, and it's kind of talking about, it's drawing a comparison between somebody that's doing their original songs and taking a chance and going out and doing their original songs, and then the kind of comparison to somebody out playing everybody else's songs, cover songs. And I think it's a good song to illustrate what you just said.
Fake it till you make it, man.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an illustration of what you just said, like where the way that you wrote it, it could be like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you need to be doing this.
Yeah.
But it's really to each their own. But hearing that song as somebody that maybe goes out and they're like, man, I'm never gonna make it as a solo artist, I might as well just do everybody else's songs. You kind of, that song is inspirational in a way, because it's like, you know what, it is taking a risk. It's taking a chance of maybe never getting heard. But I need, as an artist, I need to do this anyway for myself. But I love the way that song's written, and it really is impactful, man. And a lot of your songs really are. And then I think that at that Laurel Cove Music Festival, you did a Psych Peas show.
Yeah.
So when did the Psych Peas come out?
I did it 2 years in a row. I did it in 2023 and 2024.
Cool.
Because the Red Clay Strays were there both times. We started, I've been friends with the boys from the Red Clay Strays from early on. I mean, we were on the same label in 2017, and that was right. I put out my first record on the same label they were on back then, called Skate Mountain Records, and we've been, that, like, in the Mobile music scene, we were all just tight, like brothers, And about 2017, when we put together the Sight Peas, and and John Hall, the drummer from the Strays, and Andrew Bishop, the bass player, they were both founding members of the Sight Peas. And at that time, I had a guitar player that was a friend of mine from the military, and we used to do Sight Peas shows. We used to do, like, I would open, and then the Sight Peas would play. I would open solo, and then Sight Peas stuff, and then as the Red Clay Strays started, moving along, we would all get together and do shows. And since that guitar player that started with me in the band, he's gone now and has been replaced with Drew Nix. That happened 2020 or something like that, some 2021, something like that. And so yeah, now it's just me and 3 members of the Red Clay Strays. But we used to play bunches of shows. Back in the early days, and then as they got busier and I got busier, the shows, we'd only do 3 or 4 a year. And well, now those boys have just taken off to the point to where I don't know when we'll ever do it again. But the Sight Peas was always a side project. It was never intended to be any of our main thing. It was just a fun thing that we all love playing punk rock.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, what a show too, man. You guys put on a killer show.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, there were days where it would be, I would open, the Red Clay Strays would play, and the Sight Peas would play. And we would sell tickets in Mobile, and like if we got like 50 or 60 people, we'd be happy.
Yeah.
Them days are long gone, buddy. But they just sold 30,000 tickets in 3 nights down in Mobile, our next county over in Orange Beach. And them boys they're one of the biggest rock bands in the world right now.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think those guys give everybody faith not to give up, because they were playing shows in Lexington, and not a whole lot of people knew about them at all, and they weren't coming to the shows, and now they can't play. There's not a place big enough in Lexington besides Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
And they probably do well there too. And
well, them boys have been they put in the work, man. They started around 2017. Them boys was living in the same little old rental house and not the greatest neighborhood in Mobile, and with a short bus that they called the Breeze, that was always broke down, and just pulled their resources together, and they worked their butts off, man. I'm so proud of them. And it's one of the great, it's honestly, it's been one of the great things that I've been able to witness in my life, because I've seen them go from their first show to they're doing arena tours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got 3 tractor trailers and 3 buses. And
isn't it cool when you're like witnessing history, you're a part of it? Like your guy's story is interconnected. And
they've been it's so bizarre. Like I'll go play a show now. A lot of my shows now, people are there because they became big fans of the Red Clay Strays, and they start digging and they find me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, some of my favorite moments ever playing music was playing with John Hall. I mean, he's John, the drummer from the Red Clay Strays.
He's very emotive when he plays. He's like,
God,
you know, like a guitar player has that face sometimes.
yeah.
He's like that with drums. But just like he's like channeling that energy
Yeah.
into those drums, man.
When we do Psych P's shows with him behind me, it's like you look up and there ain't no ceiling.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? It's incredible the music scene that we're part of, and the music scene that is evolving constantly too.
Yeah.
And seeing these bands and these individual singer songwriters get out there and really take a chance, invest in themselves, and have the faith that it can all work, and
Yeah.
and that's really what it is.
Well, you know, everybody. One thing I didn't realize is whenever I first started was that I figured that everybody that played music had the same goal, and a lot of people don't. You know, like I mean, nobody has the same idea of what they want. You know, and I always said if I could support my family with just making art and touring around, then I would have made it. And I made it in March 2019. That's when I made it. Everything after that is just icing on the cake for me, bud. Like I
love it.
I'm out here playing shows because I love it. I put out records because I love it. And you know, if it finds a huge audience, great. And if it don't, that's fine too, because I've already got an audience sizable enough to sustain me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I have nothing to complain about, you know, and I don't,
It's a great perspective.
yeah,
It's good to keep in mind, man.
it is.
Because it can become a greed thing. You know, when nothing is good enough anymore, it's like you play a big show, and it's like, okay, what's the next biggest show I can do? Like, what's the next one after that? Like, and it can become a situation where you're never
Yeah.
happy. And I'm like,
Oh, absolutely.
and when you think about it, it's that journey that's the experience. It's not the destination. It's that
Yeah.
path, man. And
I just opened for the Red Clay Strays a few months ago, and I played, you know, they sold 10,000 tickets, probably 7,000 people were there. But I played to 7,000 people on a stage, and if I never do it again, that's okay. But like, how many people ever played in front of 7,000 people?
it's
Songs that
rarity.
they wrote.
Yeah.
Songs that I wrote in the darkest time of my life. If I don't ever do it again, that's fine, buddy. I've done more than 99% of the people that's ever lived. You know, so like, I'm happy.
Yeah. I can relate to that, brother. I was I wrote my first song when I was 38 years old,
Yeah.
and I had a really late start. I may not have had much to talk about though if I was writing at 20, but now I do, and it's like the odds of me being able to play the stages that I've played with the people that I've played are slim to none. But I think part of my purpose is the show that it can be done. The show that, like, man, don't give up the faith. If you have something in your heart you need to get done, take the first step and just start in on it, because it can really happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, I didn't start playing until I was 35. I had been writing already, but I didn't start playing until I was 35. And then by the time I was 38, or let's say I was 34, and by the time I was 38, I was out, you know, doing it full time, which was really my goal from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's a big leap right
Yeah.
there, especially when you have family.
I got 3 children and a wife. Yeah, it's a it's a heavy financial responsibility to tote, and we ain't making a lot of money. But you know, we made the decision that life wasn't about accumulating money a long time ago, and but you know, I'm accumulating amazing experiences, and I'm accumulating friendships and relationships with people, and I'm accumulating you know, the enjoyment and of belonging to. I mean, I've kind of embedded myself in communities across the country of artists and songwriters,
and you're not only giving your art to people, you are documenting things too, as you see them along the way. Things that if somebody didn't take the effort to document, it may disappear with time. And those stories, man, with the, you know, your podcast. I'm thinking specifically about your podcast. And documenting some of the churches in the, you know, that you were around, Eastern Kentucky. You know, the culture around that. And you know, I think every story, especially ones in parts of this country that are endangered, in many ways are endangered cultures, it's important to document that stuff for future generations. And you know, having that mix of you're very observant of your place in time and history. You're like, hey, I have the opportunity to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to document. I'm going to interview, and then everything else you got going on, man. I'm like, it's been great to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah. And
sit down in the truck and have an interview, man. And I never know how these are going to turn out.
Yeah.
I hope that, you know, they flow, especially when I don't have a cigar in my hand, because I use the cigar as a crutch. I can be completely honest. I use the cigar as a crutch. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to say next. I'm going to, how about this cigar? But this has been a really great conversation.
Well, thanks, Lance. I appreciate you having me.
And I'm looking forward to. Well, so where can people find your art? Where can people buy your albums and things like that?
Everything's at abepartridge.com.
Okay, abepartridge.com.
That's right. Thanks, Lance.
And you know,
all right.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. This is Fallen Forward, FOR''D.
That's really a genius way.
I'm trying to, you know, like, it's one of these things where I felt impelled to document some of these stories too, because it's not only important to catch people on their journey and see where they're at.
Yeah.
It's important to find out where people came from and to have those conversations, because there's no doubt you found something in this conversation that you can apply to your own life and benefit from. And whether it's a singer-songwriter out there that's questioning why they're even doing it, maybe they're, you know, these are important things to talk about, because there's a lot of people that don't feel free to share their story, but because of whatever reason they have in their own mind. But watching these and seeing people, you know, just kind of like open their soul a little bit and say, hey, here's where I came from, here's my story, like, here's why I do it. Those are very empowering. So
yeah,
I love your story, man.
Thanks, Lance.
And it's been great seeing you on your journey.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for coming in the Fallen Forward truck.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, share it, make a comment or anything like that. Anything like that helps push it out even more, and we want to reach as many people as we can. But surround yourself with good people and tell good stories.
Amen.
See you down the road.